NATO is mulling a troop deployment to Turkey after a series of violations of Turkish airspace by Russian jets bombing Syria. NATO defence ministers are meeting in Brussels, with the agenda likely to be dominated by the Syria crisis.
NATO is able and ready to defend all allies, including Turkey, against any threats. And one of the main reasons why we have increased the readiness, the preparedness of our forces, why we have doubled the size of the NATO response force, why we have established a very high readiness joint task force, why we have increased the efficiency of decision-making, all of this is a response both to the challenges we see to the east, but also to the challenges we see to the south.
Stoltenberg said that the Russians should stop their bombing campaign in Syria, which he said was not a constructive contribution.
My concern is that the Russians are not mainly targeting ISIS, but they are targeting other opposition groups, and they are supporting the regime. And I call on Russia to play a constructive and cooperative role in the fight against ISIS, not to continue to support the Assad regime, because to support the regime is not a constructive contribution to a peaceful and lasting political solution in Syria.
Russia's intervention in the Syrian conflict has unexpectedly turned the alliance's attention away from Ukraine, following Russia's annexation of Crimea last year. British Defence Secretary Michael Fallon said Russia was making a mistake, trying to prop up the Assad regime.
We'll be calling on Russia specifically to stop propping up the Assad regime, to use their influence constructively to stop Assad bombing his own civilians, and themselves to avoid the use of unguided munitions in areas that are not being controlled by ISIL.
At the summit, Fallon is set to reveal the number of troops London is sending to Eastern Europe, as well as details of an enlargement to the UK's army training programme in Ukraine.